Good afternoon. Yes, and welcome to the nice, bright, and sunny day at the Rotary Club of Madison. I'm Teresa Holmes, Club President. Thank you all for joining us. Today's meeting is being sponsored by Dave Iwanowski and Key Architecture. Let's thank them for their support of today's luncheon. Please direct your attention to the opening music, which will be led by Dave Ettinger, who will be singing the My Country 'Tis of Thee with Casey Okers accompanying him on the keyboard.
My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom reign.
Please remain standing. My apologies, I was supposed to say that before the song started. Once a month, we recite our Rotary four-way test, so let's do that today. The Rotary four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? You may be seated. Our guest will now be introduced by Steve Goldberg.
Thanks for holding your applause. We have guests in the room, and you'll meet them quite soon. They will stand as I call out their names. And when they've all stood, you can clap real good, just to show them we're glad that they came. Okay, and to our guests, pay attention if you're a guest. As we hear your name called, please stand and smile, and remain standing and smiling until all names have been called, so we can welcome and applaud you as the handsome group you are. So, a guest of the Senior Service Committee, Marianne Eilenfeldt. Please stand, Marianne. And also Margie Zutter, guest of the Senior Service Committee. Please stand. Katie Gallagher, another guest of the Senior Service Committee. Michelle Harris, a guest of Charles McClymonds. Craig Shervin, a guest of Susan Schmitz. Richard McGregory, a guest of Carlton Jenkins, and our visiting Rotarian all the way from Honolulu who came for the weather, Ed Futa. These are our guests.
Thank you, Steve. Lynette Fons chairs our member survey subcommittee, and she is actually going to come up and provide us with the results of our most recent membership satisfaction survey.
Thank you, President Teresa. We performed a member engagement survey this past year, and prior surveys focused on member satisfaction. This was a little different. So our responses from 2021 will provide a baseline from which to measure. How does this work? I'm pushing. Okay, thank you. So there goes part of my 5 minutes. Yeah, thank you. So anyway, the responses from 2021 provide a baseline for future survey results. And so this year's format, for those of you who responded or reviewed the survey, was a little bit different in that we really encouraged members to provide comments that provided some insight about why they answered the way they did. And otherwise, the questions were, do you agree? Do you strongly agree? Do you disagree? Have no comment or no concern. So anyway, all members had an opportunity to respond to the survey, and we achieved a response rate of 40%. That was better than 2020, but it wasn't really quite as good as some of the years preceding. We'd gone up to 47%, say, for example, in 2018. We ask about respondent demographics. So we ask age, race, ethnicity, club tenure, and gender. And there was a little glitch in this particular survey in that we didn't ask all the folks about gender, and we revised the survey midstream on that. But it was interesting to find that not all respondents really appreciated the questions that we had that asked for information that related to age, race, ethnicity, or gender. So we did ask about age, and 70% of the people that responded to our survey were 50 or over, and 5% chose not to answer that question. By gender, we had 4% that chose not to respond to the question. About 50% were male, 46% female. Club tenure, about 25% of the people that responded had been in the club less than 5 years, over 20% from 6 years to 10, and about 50% of the respondents had been with the group 11 years or more. As far as race, we had 10% of the respondents chose they preferred not to answer as their response. Otherwise, about 82% considered themselves to be Caucasian. So we had good news within this survey. 89% of our members said that they were proud of their club memberships. And when I say they agreed or strongly agreed. They found their membership to be fulfilling, 80%. They felt included and that they had access. And they also considered our initiative of diversity, equity, and inclusion to be a very important club priority. Good news continued in that our respondents were engaged in committees or fellowship programs. They felt encouraged to connect. They found close friends and connections through Rotary. And they said being a Rotarian was fun. Now, because we had comments, we also got some indication that, hey, the club's purpose is service over self. It's not supposed to be fun. But you know, they're not really mutually exclusive. We did have several themes that came out of the survey. COVID, as probably wouldn't surprise any of you, was top of mind for many. We learned that it was a stated member or a cause for members not attending meetings. Nearly 12% of our respondents were not attending meetings because of their concerns about COVID, and COVID actually resulted in some resignations from our club because of discomfort. Members greatly appreciated the online option, and there were some things that we heard in terms of the buffet, maybe singing, lack of consistent mask wearing, were causing concern to some. Responses provided good news and some reaffirming of ideas that we had hoped that folks would feel, but they also gave us some opportunities or possible opportunities. One of the questions was, does our club provide professional opportunities? And a good 50% said yes, but we did hear that 30% of our membership neither agreed or disagreed, and 17% said no. But because of the comments that we received also, we got some thoughts about maybe that, what was going on and what may have caused that. Someone said maybe there was an imbalance between members, maybe too many of one type or whatever. This is not something, and the leadership is looking at that. So leadership has been listening, and they've taken these responses to heart, and I think we may have already seen some changes implemented because of what we learned in this survey. How we communicate was also something that we will focus on because of this survey. Nearly half of respondents had no opinion or disagreed with the concept of their being adequately informed about the club's vision and strategic goals. And so most comments related to questions about being informed or vision or strategic goal. That just suggests that we need further communication. And I, for one, have seen over the last several meetings that we are focusing on some of these issues again. What we communicate was also considered in the survey, and some members voiced opinions and constructive criticisms. Are we focusing enough on our core values of the organization? Is our leadership on COVID matters sufficient? And are we at risk of being an advocacy group? These were comments that were made, and I believe all these comments and the survey itself are available to y'all if you are interested in reviewing them. But so I've reported on the survey, but I also want to tell you that we are making use of the data and the club leadership is listening. I've mentioned the themes in terms of COVID, a desire for balance and membership, programming, and club priorities. And I will tell you that there have been various groups, the board of directors, the DEI committee, and the member experience committee have all already received briefings about this survey, have already been given access to the materials that were identified and the opinions and comments. And that I think you're seeing changes and will continue to see some changes in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for the report, Lynette. And as Lynette said, many of you have much to say about what we're doing, and we are listening and doing something about it. So as you know, I've started this year a Did You Know segment from the podium. And so, did you know that soon and very soon, Rotary will have its first female international president? Indeed. Did you know that we ask those questions in the survey because members are telling us that they want to know those things? Rotary International wants to know other things and a cadre of other reasons why we're asking our members to give us that information so that we can inform, be well informed, and then make the proper or necessary adjustments that we want to do to include or engage you better. My other did you know? Last week, I actually heard a presentation by Rotary International's incoming president, Jennifer Jones, as she was outlining her segment for the theme of her year, Imagine Rotary. She reminded us in this presentation that inclusion and engagement are keys to a successful Rotary Club and shared a powerful message that came from the Rotary founder of Rotary, Paul Harris, indeed, at the 1933 Rotary International Convention. So you're going to hear this snippet, and my thanks to Neil Fauerbach, if he's in the room, for helping us to pull this excerpt together. We'll listen to that.
Rotary is thrown open to representatives of all walks of life, to representatives of all countries and all forms of religion. Herein lies the genius and the glory of Rotary. While Rotarians differ in many respects, in two respects, they are in perfect accord.
Thank you, Jane. Recently, Rotarians of this club received a survey asking for your feedback regarding the updates we are planning to make to classifications, as Lynette mentioned. And so those are the industries that we each are assigned to once we become a Rotarian. Imagine our collective industries evolving in a way where our vast thoughts and our actions do become the reflection of genius and the glory of Rotary. Thank you. Tim Conroy is a member of our Senior Service Subcommittee, and he will come up now to make an introduction about our Senior Service Award. Tim?
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Dick Eilenfeldt is the recipient of the Senior Service Award. In 1966, Dick graduated from UW-Madison's pharmacy school with a diploma and a commission as a lieutenant in the Army. He was soon in Vietnam, where he spent 2 years on active duty in a medical unit. He never intended to stay in the military, but did so for 26 years, serving at Army hospitals and medical units. He moved 13 times along the way. In 1992, Dick and his family moved to Madison to settle down. He worked as a pharmacist at UW Hospital, retiring in 2006. His advice from his wife upon retirement was, "Don't sit around." Dick quickly began working with RSVP, the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program of Dane County, giving rides to people. He did so for 19 years, volunteering 5,123 hours. When Vets Helping Vets began, Dick was there, driving fellow veterans to medical appointments. He says, when you spend 3 to 5 hours with someone, they open up and share things. Dick was able to not only get them to an important medical appointment, but to be there to listen. His actions allowed people to live independently and stay in their homes. Dick also volunteered as a driver for the Red Cross and on the board of the Community Services Center, where he also oversaw building projects and handled emergencies. He continued to help other seniors, serving on the board of the West Madison Senior Coalition for more than 10 years, eventually helping it to merge with other senior coalitions to form Newbridge in 2019. Dick has cut down on driving due to a cancer diagnosis, but reports he's doing well. When he stopped driving, RSVP says he left a very big hole to fill. He currently volunteers with St. Thomas Aquinas Church. Dick, you embody the Rotary ideal, service above self, and it is our honor to present you with this award.
Smiles are good. All right. Our Rotary Scholarship Committee will be interviewing students in a few weeks, and they will be selecting our next group of scholars soon. We'll meet the 2022 Rotary Scholars during our June 1st luncheon. And so as we prepare for the 2022 class of Rotary Scholars, we have a message from our Rotary Scholar Mentoring Subcommittee. Here to tell us more about that is Julie Swenson, who serves as a Rotary Scholar Mentor.
Thank you. I am here with the challenge of getting you all to sign up to be a mentor. Now, I can tell you that it's fulfilling, won't take too much time, and you'll love it. But I want to tell you 2 stories. I have the great privilege of being the mentor to a woman named Jennifer. Jennifer is first-generation Hmong. She comes from a huge family, and she got a full ride to Stanford. When I met her, I said, "What in the world can I do for you?" And she said, "I just think I need another perspective." I said, "Great." We went to Lake Wingra paddle boating. We saw a play. We went out to dinner, and she flew off to California. First week of school, I got a text. Said, "Julie, can we talk?" And I called her up right away, and she said, "So should I get a bank account in California?" And I realized that was the entry point. We talked about the pros and cons of getting a bank account in California, but we also talked about being really far away from her family. First week in college, being lonely, it's hard. We talked for maybe 2 hours that night, and I think I calmed her down. Let's forward 4 years later. in between time, we've continued to talk all the time through text. I've sent her food during exams. And I get another text that says, Julie, can I call you? And I quickly picked up the phone. And her loving, supportive, wonderful family is now asking what she's going to do for a job in her graduation in May. But here's the thing. Jennifer is a composer. She wants to write symphonies. Of that big family, there's no one who's an artist. I am. I have a BFA in theater. I was a freelance actor for years. I know the path. So I was able to tell her, you get a job to pay your bills, but here's the path of an artist. And you can't be expected to have a job in your field right out of college. Here's how it works. We talked another couple hours, and I talked her off the ledge, but you know what? I was the one who was fulfilled. I was the one that was able to help someone with a message that she wasn't getting from anyone else. That's my point of view as a mentor. We have a quick video to show you of the point of views of the scholars.
As a Rotary Scholar, I found out quickly just how great your mentor program is. My mentor, Dick Lavelle, guided me and encouraged me during my freshman year. Dick then worked through you, President Ellsworth, to connect me to the Wisconsin Historical Museum, where I had a really valuable internship. I worked 4 months updating the museum's artist Native American collection. The internship improved my time management and independent research skills, skills that would prove to be essential in later internships and work. Above all, the internship inspired me to explore other opportunities.
Went to Oshkosh my freshman year, but unfortunately college wasn't a smooth ride for me. I ended up dropping out my first semester. So I called my mentor Moses and told him I had to cancel my scholarship payment. And I remember that conversation pretty clearly. So he kind of said, well, a little bit of a pause. And he just said, well, we're going out to eat tomorrow and we're going to talk about this. And I was super intimidated because I talked to the man like maybe twice in my life. And only formal conversations. So he took me to the Imperial Garden, sat me down, and just laid out an entire plan for me to get back to school. The scholarship was what made college possible, but the outstanding support from mentors and this entire club are what got me to stay in school. Can't say thank you enough, and I hope to repay this one day.
The most important was the mentorship program. I was matched up with Dr. John Bonsett-Veal after I expressed an interest in pursuing a career in optometry. And since then, he's become a very, very important part of my life. Not only has he photographed multiple Frisbee games for me, he helped me decide whether or not I wanted to transfer from Lawrence University to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And he's allowed me to shadow in his optometry office and intern there a little bit just to learn from him. And he even officiated my wedding this past summer. So I think that can speak to the level of relationship that we have with one another.
And lastly, we have made this very easy for you because I know when you hit those doors, you go back to work and your family and all those other things. There are blue sheets on your table and you can just write your name, drop it off, and be a mentor to these wonderful, wonderful students. I promise you, you will find it as fulfilling as I did. Thank you.
Great stories, and I'm sure we have many, many more for our upcoming Rotary Scholar Mentor Summer Picnic. Thank you, Julie. Birthdays. We have birthdays to celebrate with a bit of humor or wisdom that complements our Rotary mission. We also encourage our members to make an age-appropriate gift rounded up to 100 for our club's Synergy Scholarship Fund. Rotarians, if you are in the room when I call your name, please stand. March 13th, Mike Wenzel. March 14th, Rhonda Adams, who says, leadership is not about titles, positions, or org charts. It is one life influencing another. I am grateful for those Rotarians having influence in my life. March 14th, Mike Gotzler, who shares, spring has sprung. Although I'm out of state again today, I'm thrilled our club is edging back towards more in-person meetings. Here's to a fun and difference-making 2022 for our club. March 15th, Nan Zimdars. March 16th, Terry Heinrichs, who shares that Father Richard Rohr, a Franciscan friar, challenges us. Peacemaking, forgiveness, and reconciliation are not some kind of ticket to heaven later. They are the price of peoplehood, the signature of heaven now. March 16th, Fred Mose. March 18th, Joe Bartol. March 18th, Scott Forrester. March 19th, past President Perry Henderson. March 19th, Club Treasurer Dan Larson. And March 19th, past President Tim Stadelman. One less blooper. Thanks to our celebrants for their contributions to the Madison Rotary Foundation. Rotarians and guests, please join me in wishing them a happy birthday. I have members in the news and one announcement. If Dory Hosek is in the room still, could you please wait before you leave after today's program? I'd like to meet with you. All right. Rhonda Adams was interviewed in a WMV-TV Channel 15 news story on how higher gas prices will impact the River Food Pantry deliveries of food to families, March 8th. Jason Belangi was pictured and quoted in an article titled Truly Accessible, Brava, March, April 22 edition. Colleen Kerr and Carlton Jenkins were featured in Charles Taylor's recent documentary, Leaders of Madison's Black Renaissance, which premiered at the Overture Center on February 27th. Madison 365, February 25th. George Hidalgo's Wild East Town Honda earned the prestigious President's Award from the American Honda Motor Company for the 9th consecutive year. The award recognizes dealerships that exemplify Honda's commitment to the highest level of customer satisfaction. Valerie Rank and her organization, Habitat for Humanity, were featured on Madison 3000 and Channel 3 News for their assistance to Ukrainian refugees in assisting with resettlement. Congratulations, Rotarians. Now on to today's program. We hold our monthly board meeting March 7th. And I encourage members to review our board minutes that we post in our members login tab section of our club's website. We want members to see our current board members in person, so we ask one board member each month to introduce a speaker. This month, Valerie Rank will make the introduction. Valerie is CEO of Habitat for Humanity of Dane County. She joined our club in 2012 and is in her first of a 2-year term on our board. She'll now come forward and introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Tressa. Our speaker today is Scott Smith, Vice President of Business and Regulatory Strategy for Madison Gas and Electric. He received his bachelor's degree in political science from the UW-Madison, attended graduate school at Johns Hopkins University, and received his MBA from UW-Madison. Prior to joining Madison Gas and Electric, Scott was Director of Regulatory Affairs at Alliant Energy. He previously served as Chief of Staff of the Public Service Commission. Scott also served as former Wisconsin Governor Tommy Thompson's Deputy Communications Director and Deputy Director of the Wisconsin State Office in Washington, D.C. Today, Scott is going to talk to us about utility reliability in Madison. We look forward to your presentation, Scott, and we have made a contribution to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as a way to say thanks for speaking to us today. I also want to mention that we have a Q&A with our speaker at the end, as time allows, but please wait for the microphone if you have a question. Let's welcome Scott to the podium.
the clicker? It's right up front, yeah. Well, thank you all. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak to you here. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the other MG&E folks here. Christine Euclid is our former general counsel, is a Rotarian. Chris Ivanoff is in our forecasting department. And Regina Milner is, I believe, online. Hi, Regina. She's a former board member. And of course, I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't recognize our former president and CEO, Don Helfrich, who also, does anyone know the significance of 2/22/22? 100 years old. Don just celebrated his 100th-year birthday. So congratulations, Don, and thanks for being here. What I'd like to talk to you all about today is just some things that a lot of people, you may be MG&E customers, you may be customers of Alliant, but we're all going through some changes right now. But one thing that everybody wants and expects from their utility is when you flip that switch, you want that light to come on, right? And I'm here to tell you, if you're a customer of MG&E, I think you're going to be really pleased with, if you haven't thought about it, the last time you saw that blinking clock on your microwave was probably a while ago. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about kind of how MG&E compares to the other utilities in the country. And then we'll talk about kind of this transition that we're going through, really changing how we're generating electricity, for MG&E and really across the country. But MG&E has been a leader in this area as well. And talking about how we have partnered with our community, whether that be the school district, whether that be the city. We're really trying to figure out solutions for everybody in the community so we can all participate in this energy transition that we're going through right now. MG&E has a long history, and Don is our resident historian on this. But if we started back in 1855, Don, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but we had 2 miles of pipe. It was a gas and coke company, Madison Gas, Light and Coke Company. Started in 1855. That was a year before Madison became a city. And from that, we've grown and we've transitioned through many times, many transitions. But really the focus throughout that period of time has been on serving the community. And right now we serve 157,000 electric customers in the Madison area. And then we've got some outlying areas where we also serve natural gas to some of our customers. You'll see that on that map there. So it's really kind of this community company that we strongly are tied to the Madison area. We are a leader in reliability when it comes to how many times your power goes out and how often and for how long, the duration of that outage. We're really a national leader. And for the past 14 years, we've actually been in the top 3 in the country for that. When you're talking about reliability, there's really two big metrics. And the first one is how often is your service interrupted? And that's the acronym for that is SAFE. And then we have, once your power is out, how long is that power out for? Is it a matter of minutes or is it days? And that's really the SAIDI index. And now we're a partner of the Edison Electric Institute, and so all of the utilities that participate in the Edison Electric Institute, that's kind of our industry group, we all report on these same metrics. And so everyone is reporting how many outages they had and for how many customers, and then for how long of a duration were those. And as you will see, Madison Gas and Electric in 2020 was the absolute best in the country in terms of how often our power went out. It wasn't that great. And you can see it's 0.25, which means that for the average customer, that means your power went out about 1 time every 4 years. Now, if you think about that and the amount of trees we have in the Madison area, that's pretty good. Obviously, we have a lot of underground, which helps. It's hard for a tree to knock down a line if it's underground. But we do have a lot of lines that are up in the air, and we do have storms that come through. But we've really built a robust system. Don can attest to that, and we've done that in a way that's cost effective. And really, if you think about the downtown area, the wires down in this area are obviously underground, and so that's really adds to the robustness of our territory. Now, I talked about there's how often, but there's also then once it's out, how long is it out for? Once again, MG&E, top one in the country in terms of once that power is out, how quickly are we able to get that restored? Now, you'll see I'm using 2020. It's like, okay, well, what happened in those other years? I know there's got to be some trick here. He's showing it. Actually, if you look at kind of where we've been in the history, we're always in the top 1 or 2 in the country. This is important to us. We know how critical it is to serve our customers. Whether that's the city of Madison, whether that's the state government, whether that's our individual residential customers, we understand how important that is, and so we really strive to be the best that there is. And we've demonstrated that we've been pretty successful at that. Now, that's kind of our reliability metrics, but when we talk about kind of, where is the utility headed? And if you think about kind of how we have historically generated electricity, we've used a lot of fossil fuels, and we've been, using those rotating engines to produce electricity to serve our customers. Now, we've all been aware of these emissions that we've been having in carbon. And so we've really been one of the leaders in this in transitioning away from those large generators into a lot of solar and a lot of wind. And we've been really pushing this in the past few years to really drive that forward, but also trying to do this in the most cost-effective way, right? I mean, you can't, if you have a car, you can't really just say, okay, now it's 2 years old, now I'm going to go buy a new car. You got to kind of, make sure that you're not doing this in a way that's not affordable. And so what we're doing is we're really transitioning through our resources, but doing in a way that we can try to maintain our costs for our customers so we don't have rates going up at the expense of everybody. We're trying to do this in the most cost-effective manner. And really, a lot of that is through these partnerships, and I'll talk about some of these partnerships we have with some of our larger customers, where we're able to actually get more renewables onto the grid with their assistance and helping them become more renewable through the process. So that's been something that's been really innovative. We've also been, if you think about carbon, 30% of the carbon emissions come from the transportation sector. So the real opportunity there is to electrify that sector. So we've been a real leader in that. And I'll talk a little bit about how we're pursuing those items as well. We were one of the first utilities in the country to commit to being net zero, having net zero electricity by the year 2050, and we're well on the way towards that. And so a lot of people say, well, yeah, you said that, but are you really doing that? We partnered with the UW-Madison to really look at our pathway and how that compares to the IPCC, kind of the International Climate Council, how they're suggesting that we move forward, and seeing if our pathway and the international pathway are matching up. And I'm proud to say that they did verify that, yeah, what MG&E is doing is exactly what MG&E needs to make this happen. And they, through their analysis, they've said that that's exactly the path that we're on. Really, when we're looking at carbon reductions, throughout time, kind of getting to that 2050, there's a number of different pathways. But really, what we need to do is get those carbon reductions out of the generating sector as quickly and cost effectively as we can. And then, so what we're doing right now at MG&E is we're committed to 80% carbon reductions compared to 2005 levels by the year 2030. And then we're going to squeeze that remaining 20% out between 2030 and 2050. And that's really to ensure that we maintain that reliability, because as we add more and more intermittent resources, it becomes more difficult to balance the system, and make sure that you have enough energy when everyone turns the lights on at the same time. So that's really, kind of the path that we're on right now, and we've made significant strides in the past few years. Really, there's three ways that all of the international community suggests that are the three pathways towards zero carbon, and we need to decarbonize our electric supply mix, we need to use energy more efficiently, and we need to electrify the transportation sector. If we do those three things by 2050, we can have this zero carbon electric sector. We have committed MG&E as a utility to end all of our coal use by the year 2035. We're partners with two other utilities in the Columbia Energy Generating Station up near Portage, and those units were initially slated to run to the late 2037 and 2038 is kind of what their original schedule was when they were built. And as we looked over time, we found that we could more economically supply that energy for our customers by retiring those units earlier and relying upon renewable resources instead of the Columbia Energy Center. So now we're planning to retire, there's 2 units up there, and we're planning to retire one at the end of next year and the other the following year. So that's some exciting news that will be helping significantly reduce MG&E's carbon emissions. We've also, we're a partner in the Elm Road Generating Station, which is a coal unit over near Milwaukee. And we have committed with our partner utilities over there to stop burning coal and transition that generating unit to natural gas, which has significantly less carbon emissions. Now, it's important that we are still going to be utilizing a fossil fuel, and that's really important to have dispatchability. As we're talking about, having more of these renewable resources on, they're excellent resources. Solar is an excellent resource when the sun's shining, right? Wind is an excellent resource when the wind is blowing. And so those are the really, we need to have something that's able to follow that, just in case we don't have enough energy from these renewable resources at a given time. We can then dispatch a generating unit. Right now, we're relying on fossils. I think in the future we're going to see that change, but we just aren't there yet. There's a lot of advances that are happening, and hopefully, we can transition that unit from natural gas to something else in the future. So, as we're making these retirements and fuel switches, we are aggressively adding renewable resources. If you just look at kind of, what we've been working on since 2018, 4 years ago, we've added significant resources in terms of wind resources to MG&E's mix, as well as solar. And we are just getting started on solar. We have a number of projects that are in the works. Right now, in fact, tomorrow, the Public Service Commission will be talking about our Paris solar and battery farm. This is a exciting new prospect for us using battery storage technology to kind of augment solar. If you think about kind of the opportunity for some of these transmission lines, when you have solar coming in, you're only going to be exporting that during the daylight hours, right? But you have that transmission service there all day long, right? So if you augment that with a battery, you can actually extend that, utilize that transmission service for a longer period of time. So it's really going to help us balance this out a little bit. And this is an exciting advancement that we've seen. It's been happening nationwide, and we're taking advantage of some of these cost curves as battery storage has come down significantly. We're adding, you know, a number of these projects. I'll talk a little bit about how we're partnering with some of our larger customers to help them get more renewable energy faster. So I talked a little bit about the Paris solar battery. We've got two other similar parks around. One is the Darien. Obviously, you know, Paris is not Paris, France. It's it's Paris down near Kenosha. And then Darien is obviously down near the Lake Geneva area, and Kashkanag is just a little bit east of here in the Cambridge area. We're excited to announce that we just received approval from the Public Service Commission to construct the Red Barn Wind Energy Farm. Now, you know, some of those wind projects that I mentioned that we've already have in our fleet, some of those are in Iowa, and they're in Iowa because that's where the wind blows, right? And so we're getting more energy from those resources, but having a wind resource closer to us helps us better tie, you know, our reliability and our energy resources to Wisconsin-based wind. So this is an exciting addition to our fleet. We haven't had new wind of this scale approved by the commission in 10 years, so this is a significant advancement. Again, we've partnered with another utility on this project, so we'll have about 10% of this project. And this project is, they're slated to begin construction in the next couple of weeks, and we hope to have that project online by the end of this year. So I talked a bit about our partnerships, and this, I think, is really something that sets MG&E apart from some of the other utilities in terms of really trying to find solutions that are not only good for us and our customers, but our specific customers. We've partnered with UW-Madison on the O'Brien solar farms, where they're taking, that's a new project. If you haven't seen it, is anyone familiar with that project? It's out, yeah, okay, it's out in Fitchburg area. There's in case anyone likes beer, there's a brewery across the street that, you know, you can kind of take a look at it from there. But that's a great local project where it's a 20 megawatt project, and we partnered with UW-Madison and some of our larger customers where they're taking the energy directly from that project, and they're paying for every kilowatt hour that it produces. It's offsetting their energy usage. And we do that in a way it's the most cost-effective way for them to become renewable, and it helps us move further faster, and doesn't impact all of our other customers with that cost. So it's really a win-win for everyone involved. We've got a similar project where we've partnered with the City of Madison and the Madison School District on the Hermsdorf farm, and that farm is located kind of in the northeast Madison, and so the school district and the city will be buying the energy from that project, and that's slated to come online later this month. So that's an exciting project. And some of you might be familiar with the Dane County at the airport. If you've flown in recently, you've seen that project. That is a project that was another great project where we partnered directly with Dane County. And the county owns that land, so we were able to use that land where we're now generating energy on that site, and that is going to Dane County operations. So that's an exciting project. We've also got, at the Maury Airport, we've got a solar field there where we have partnered with the City of Middleton and the Middleton Cross Plains School District, where they're taking the energy from that project. And that's also an opportunity for us to, we've got a few megawatts from that are available for some of our residential customers through our shared solar program. Shared solar is noted there. We expanded that with the Maury Airport. So that came online, and that is sold out already. We're in the process of trying to figure out, you know, where our next shared solar project is going to be. There's a few candidates for that, so hopefully we'll have something to announce relatively soon on that. It's really a great project, an opportunity for some of our customers who want to participate in solar, and this allows them to do that without putting something on their roof or going a different way. So it's really a great program for a number of our customers. we've also got really this is really the easy button for a customer who wants to have renewable energy. They can sign up today. Anyone can sign up today for our Green Power Tomorrow program. And every kilowatt hour, it's essentially a penny more. But for that, you're getting the renewable energy for that kilowatt. So you could become 100% carbon neutral by signing up for our Green Power Tomorrow program. And we've got renewable energy to anyone who wants to sign up today. You can come talk to me and we'll get you signed up. But it's really not just on the energy production side, but it's really how can we use energy more efficiently. And we've got an exciting program on this side where we've got programmable thermostats. Anyone can sign up for this. We just expanded this program. We got approval from the Public Service Commission to expand it in 2022, where you're able to sign up for, if you have a Nest thermostat, if anyone has a, Ecobee or Nest, one of those types of Wi-Fi thermostats, you can sign up with us, and we will give you $50 and just for signing up. And then every year you participate after that, we'll give you $25. And really what we're able to do is, in exchange for that, we're going to manage your thermostat during times of peak usage. So what we do is if it's, let's say it's a really hot day and energy prices are spiking, we're going to send you a signal and say, hey, I'd like to manage your thermostat. So you have an opportunity to opt out if you don't like this. You say, you know what, I'm going to be home this day. I'm going to opt out. But if you're at work, it's probably not going to affect you. And so you go, okay, let it ride. What we're going to do is we're going to pre-cool your home. And then, so we're going to turn on your air conditioner early, okay? And then we're going to turn off your air conditioner during the period of high prices. And then when the prices come down, we're going to turn you back on. And so your house might go up a degree or two, but it's not going to be a significant discomfort. If it is, again, you can just override and turn that on. But what that does is that allows us to not purchase expensive energy, which then helps everybody. And if you think about expensive energy is not solar, it's not wind, it's more of the expensive fossil-based energy. So we're able to reduce that usage and help all of our customers through this program. So this is an exciting program. We're thinking about trying to emulate this also with say electric water heaters and things like that, where we can try to help manage things. But again, we don't want to give you a cold shower. We want you to have the product available when you want it. But really, you might not need to heat that water 24 hours a day, right? So it's really trying to figure out how can we balance this out. But again, we want everybody to participate in this, and we found that a programmable thermostat, might be something that if you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's not something in your budget. And so what we've done is we've partnered with Focus on Energy, and we've been able to put together a number of these thermostats, and we're going to deploy these in low-income residences so they can participate in it as well. Now, because there's a cost to us, we're not going to, this program's not going to have the $50. It's going to be a $25. So instead of that, incentive to get folks to sign up with the $25, you get the free thermostat. And we're going to install that. We're going to have that thermostat installed just so we ensure that this is a seamless product offering. So we're really excited to start this program this spring. I talked about electric vehicles and how the transportation sector accounts for about 30% of the greenhouse gas emissions. This is really a critical aspect of carbon reductions, and I see it as a real opportunity. And as you all have seen more and more EVs enter the market, and there's just more and more options for customers. It's not just a Tesla Model 3. There's a number of different models out there that folks can choose from, and the range has come up significantly. Where the idea of I need a car that can get more than 100 miles. that's no longer an issue. So we're seeing really an opportunity to shift out of combustion engines into electric vehicles. MG&E has tried to make this really easy for our customers as well, where we will actually come out and install a level 2 charger into your house. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to set up a contractor for that. And we just charge you a monthly base customer charge for that. It's about $20. You know, and if something goes wrong with it, we'll come out and fix it. We'll replace it, whatever needs to happen with it. So this is really, you know, again, the easy button for customers in terms of, you know, I've just bought an electric vehicle. What do I do now? Call us up and we'll help you out. Now, in exchange for that, you know, again, we'd like to manage that charge. And again, we don't want to manage that charge where you don't have a full charge in the morning. But what we want to do is we want to make this the most cost-effective way. And again, the most cost-effective way from a market perspective is using renewable energy to fill your car. So here's the theory, is that, you know, if we don't control electric vehicle charging, we're going to have a lot of charging occur during our peak hours. And our peak hours are you know, typically, you know, noon till about 7, 8 p.m. And what happens is if you're an EV driver, you're going to come home and you're going to plug in your car at 6 o'clock, right? And you're going to charge it right away, right? Why not? And those are the expensive hours. But if we can say, listen, I'll get you charged, but it might be at 2 in the morning. If you don't need your car until 6 in the morning, you know, if your car's in the garage for 12 hours, you know, does it matter what time you're getting that charge? So if we're able to smart charge your vehicle, we don't need to beef up the distribution system. We don't need to put a new transformer outside of, you know, houses because everyone's using electricity now at 6 o'clock when they're plugging in their EVs. We're able to manage that charge, and we're able to bring that down into low-cost hours. Here's how it's working. We have actually been doing this, and it's incredible how we've been able to do it. Now, you know, if I go back, you know, the theory is much more of a U-shaped. Now, whoops, sorry. The actual is a little more jagged, right? But you see the picture there is, you know, the blue line is if we don't manage that charge, it's happening during those expensive hours. But if we can shift that over into the lower cost hours, again, everybody benefits from that, and every car is charged just the same in the morning. So everyone's getting that same usage, but we're getting it at lower cost hours, which is a benefit to everybody. MG&E has also been very aggressive in establishing a public charging network throughout Madison. We've got 38 chargers now deployed throughout the Madison area. You know, and obviously we've got you know, a lot of programs to help our customers choose an EV. You know, if you're questioning, you know, well, here's my usage, go on our website and we'll help you kind of walk through, well, if this is your usage, if this is what you're looking for, this vehicle might fit your needs. So we'll help you go through that process. How many of you have seen this transition we've had going on? Okay, we've got one down here. We've got, it's really a first in the Midwest of an electric vehicle charging hub. And this is really, you know, if folks are familiar with, I think it's still Marge's Amico on East Wash and the Sylvie. There was a little slip of land between those two. MG&E property. It was a surface parking lot. It was just sitting there, and you'll recognize that there was a substation right behind it. And someone at MG&E came up with this great idea of, why don't we create a charging hub right there? And it's really brilliant because we've got so many, you know, apartments right in that area that don't have charging infrastructure. And so creating a charging hub where the people are, it was really a great idea. And you know, Green Cab obviously is operating in the area, operating Teslas. They'll be able to charge at this. So this is really, you know, a great asset for Madison. We partner with Tesla, and so there's going to be some Tesla Superchargers there. eight of those, and then we've got 7 MG&E chargers there as well. So these are going to be super fast chargers, and I've got 1 minute. We've also partnered with City of Madison to get EVs, or electric buses here, which we're excited about. And we've got the first in the nation electric fire truck that's been in operation, is going on service calls today. And thank you very much.
We hate that part of the segment, don't we? It rarely happens, but we apologize, but we don't have time for Q&A today. That being said, Rotarians, we are adjourned.